Right, good evening. Welcome to the 12-Man podcast. Live. On a bit of a different day, isn't it? Nice little Thursday night. But we had to make an exception. We've got to for this one. Been a bit of a special week, this one, hasn't it? So, yeah, you got me, Steve Jackson. I'll lead things tonight. Missing on Monday, but he's back tonight. Got Mr. Steve Dixon with me. Evening, Dicko.
Evening, lads. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Dicko.
What a
Dicko,
time
you
to
all right,
come
mate?
back. What a time to come back on. Glory seeker.
Oh, no words, no words.
Bloody
And
part-timers.
I know. And because he loves Monday so much, I brought Mr. Meg back. Mr. Graham Banderas back with us here in Bandy.
Evening, you all right?
I am, mate.
Some
I call him Mr. Meg because he won us a nice 160 quid for charity on Tuesday night. Yeah, well done. Nicely
Thank
done.
you very much. I genuinely didn't have a clue about the odds. I just obviously made that prediction when we did the podcast on that evening. Didn't look any further. I didn't even have a bet myself, to be honest. I was too busy with work and shot straight off to the game and then just forgot about it. And then when I'm in the next block from you and John shouted across 160 to 1. Like, get in.
I know.
Beautiful.
He said to me,
Yeah, it's nice as that for a quid.
yeah, it's not bad for quid, is it? He said to me, what's the odds on that one, Jack? I went, 160 to 1. You joking? I went, no. No way, I'm joking. Unbelievable
Yeah.
shout.
What a
yeah,
shout.
shouted
What a
across to me.
shout, though. What a
He
shout.
says, "What do you reckon?" I says, 1-0 Hackney, about 50 to 1. He went, nah, 160. So said to BBC Tees that was the icing on the cake, and they used that quote on their socials, which was quite nice. But it was a fantastic night, and then topped off beautifully with a nice little win for charity for you boys.
Exactly. It was yes, nice little our second one of the season. Puts our coffers up to I think it's 380 quid now. So that's us paid for the season. That's us done. Thank God we don't have to do it. Think about anything else. We're in profit, so it's good. But yeah, so we'll talk about that night at the Riverside on Tuesday. Oh, I could talk forever about this. I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm still getting chills thinking about it now. It was an amazing night. And we'll talk about transfer news and injury news because we've had both stints. And we'll preview Millwall. Back to the bread and butter. Back to what we're supposed to do week on week. So yes, Chelsea will go back on the back burner and we'll talk about league football again. But before we start, we both all right.
Couldn't be better.
All good. Still on a bit of a high, to be honest. It's hard to come down from a game like that because you just want to relive it every minute of every day. It was just so good. Incredible, wasn't it?
We are gonna relive it, mate. We are gonna relive it. They say people are gonna shut the comments and stuff, and but what a night. Right, let's start. Right, Dicko, start with team news. Obviously, made a couple of changes. Brought in that Laugh. Brought in Matt Crooks. I want to say Matt Crooks.
Yeah.
And then he brought in Johnny Howson to, I suppose, to saw that midfield up. Because when you saw the Chelsea midfield, obviously Conor Gallagher, Moses Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, you're talking 250 million quid's worth of talent. I'll say that, talent. What did you make of the team news and think,
I was okay with it. If I'm being honest, this is why Michael Carrick's a genius and I'm sat here and he manages Middlesbrough Football Club because against Aston Villa, you know, the tactics when he went with the wing backs and the three at the back, it worked magnificently against Aston Villa and we put in a great shift and unlucky not to get a result on the night. But I felt against Chelsea, with it being two legs and us being at home, that we needed maybe to go back to our normal formation under Carrick, the 4-2-3-1, and get Isaiah Jones higher up the pitch and have a bit more of a go at them. So when I seen we're keeping the same formation with the wing backs and Isaiah Jones playing wing back, I was a little bit concerned, to be honest. And then obviously the game starts, and one of my big things was I wanted Latte to start because Silva at the back, for those, is always a world-class player. He's 39 years of age. And I thought Latte on latching onto him would cause him bother all day with his pace. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted Isaiah Jones high up the pitch, Latiolaf in the team on Silva, and have a little bit of a go at them, try and get a lead, and then maybe we could rejig the formation as the game went on. But don't get us wrong, I wasn't unhappy with the starting lineup. It was more the formation I was a little bit concerned about, but I was absolutely dead wrong. I mean, to lose your two quickest players probably in the first 15, 20 minutes in Bangura and Latiolaf after 5 minutes, and then still be able to be tactically good enough to somehow, get those players back into a formation, back into a system to beat one of the most, expensively assembled sides in Europe 1-0 and keep a clean sheet. I just thought was magnificent management by Michael Carrick. So, yeah, to go back to the original question, I was a little bit concerned on the formation, but not unhappy with the personnel.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got to say, I thought the formation was spot on simply because of Saturday. Obviously, saw it against Villa. I thought the three at back worked so well against what they had on the wings, and Chelsea had a bit of power on the wings as well. Obviously, Raheem Sterling, Cole Palmer can go out there as well. Obviously, Madueke was quick with his feet. But one that surprised me, Bandy, was Lewis O'Brien on the bench. Came from absolutely nowhere. All of a sudden, he's on the bench, ready to go.
Good news. Hopefully, he might. If he's fit enough to be on the bench, he might get a start on Saturday. We never know, but yeah, very refreshing. It's just a relief to see quality players coming back slowly but surely. I can't wait to see him in action because we've barely seen anything of him. He's a great footballer as well. Left foot, right foot. He can power through midfield. He can track back. He can tackle. He can get shots off from the edge of the box. Pretty much exactly what we've been missing, particularly in some of these league games where we've come a cropper really. So yeah, delighted to have him back in the fold.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, going into the game on Tuesday, we had 12 senior players out. Obviously, the two that went out in the first 16 minutes. There's 14. That's a lot of a squad that we've established, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest start on Tuesday. He said Saturday on Tuesday. Obviously, Latiolaf getting in on goal. Dicko, you brought this up. If VAR is part of this semi-final, because obviously it's not because of our championship stature, and we haven't got the technology installed. Ironically enough, if VAR is installed, that's a penalty, isn't it?
It's got to be. I mean, I'm the north stand, and I was up shouting for a penalty because I could see clear as day the player hadn't got anything on the ball. So I don't know how true it is. I was talking to one of my mates who's a referee, and he was saying that there's like a double jeopardy law where because he got his shot off and the players come in and took him out, generally the referees don't give fouls and penalties in that situation. I don't know how true that is. If it is true, I think it's an absolute nonsense. Because at the end of the day, Latiolaf, yeah, he's got his shot off, but the player's come across, he's got nothing on the ball. It's a dangerous challenge. His studs were up. He's caught him on the ankle. In Middlesbrough, have lost a player after 5 minutes of the game. He hasn't even been booked. Obviously, he can't be booked because the foul wasn't given. So I don't understand in the laws of the game how that's actually a thing. I mean, it was borderline red card. He would have been last man. It was a big call, and after watching the game back, I was a bit disappointed and disillusioned with TV and the social media. Nobody seemed to call it out for what it was, which was a foul on Latiolaf, and it should have been a penalty. And I think the VAR was at the Riverside on Tuesday night. It would have been given as a penalty. You would have certainly asked the referee to have a look at it because I thought it was a dangerous challenge, and it was a penalty. I don't see the difference in a game when you have a midfield player going through on goal sometimes and they get fouled, but the ball breaks kindly and the referee plays the advantage and what have you, and then it doesn't work out and the referee blows his whistle and pulls it back for a free kick again because the advantage hasn't worked out. Well, Latiolaf had the advantage in the box. He's got his shot off. Hasn't worked out, but the players come across and fouled him. I don't see why the referee can't give a penalty. I mean, I'm not a referee. I'm not an expert on every single law in the game, but for me, it's a penalty and it's at least a yellow card.
Oh, God, yeah, of course it is. I mean, I was the same as you. I looked in, I thought, well, that's a bit of a dodgy tackle. And you say, Lassie last that was Lassie last game gone, done, and it was you know the tackle wasn't a great one. I mean, I watched the game back, and who's the defender? Is it that Disassi? Is it Disassi or was that his name?
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disaster. His tackle, let's face it, it was a horrible tackle. His studs were up. He was nowhere near the ball. The shot had already gone. It was just disappointing to see. But yeah, I mean, losing them 2 players straight away, Bandy, that was a kick because we started really brightly as well. We got on the ball, we passed it around, and we weren't intimidated by what was in front of us.
Oh, I think we kicked off from where we left off in the Villa game. Really, despite losing that game, I still thought we were good value for winning that game. I thought we did enough. And again, the game plan against Chelsea, it worked to a T. We sort of had that low block again. We got the wing backs forward at any given opportunity. We had runners through midfield to try and support a lone striker. And obviously, when Josh come on, it must have been so hard to come on quickly in a game like that because he probably thought, obviously, with Latte starting, he might come on maybe last 20 minutes if Latte is tiring. But he was thrown straight into it. And to be honest, it's testament to Josh on how he's able to cope in big pressure games. Nothing seems to faze him. He's looking a little bit more of a physical presence as well from when he first started playing for us, really, when he made his debut. So I think they maybe had him on some sort of weights program over the last 6-7 months. He just looks a little bit more bulked up, and he's a menace for towering centre halves now. So when he come on, I had no qualms about him coming on. I knew he would be able to give us that outlet because his hold up play is exceptional. The first time I really noticed that was the Leicester game where he gave their 2 centre halves the run around, and he was unlucky actually. Maybe he should have put some studs on his boots because he went down a couple of times, didn't he?
That sniper on the stand got him, didn't he, in the second half? He just went down like he'd been shot.
Well, he was just fronting up on the edge of the box. He just went to get a shot off and he just slipped. And then the other time he got away and then he just ended up running it out. But no, he was great. But I was encouraged that Latte started, and I can see why Dick Moore mentioned about his pace to get the ball, over the top from Thiago Silva, who is still a Rolls Royce of a player, but he's aging. So that was good management from Carrick to spot that and try and counter them in that way.
Oh, I kept saying. I mean, I think I said most of the second half. I wish he'd piss off. I really do. I mean, oh my God, the amount of times he just calmly got the ball and chested it down, or just nodded it next to him. I thought, are you joking me now? Are you joking me? Yeah. You're 39 years old. You're kicking 56, right? I can't do that now, and I'm 33. Leave it out. You're unbelievable centre half. It shows why he's such a prolific winner, and I still playing football today because he was absolutely superb. So, yeah, fantastic player. But I thought Josh did really well against both him and Disassi when he came on. Both physical defenders, both shaped up to him as well. They were quite touch tight with him as well, I thought, when the ball was up in the air. And it was the same with Crooks as well. And I thought Coburn was superb on Tuesday night. I thought
Josh done great, and he's a great player, and I love the 100% nature he's got. And I agree what Bandy was saying about the game against Leicester, where I thought he was superb in that game as well. But I just feel against Chelsea, their weakness. I remember Newcastle battered them a few weeks ago at St James's Park, and it was the pace of Anthony Gordon who tortured Thiago Silva, and they were really exposed at the back. And I think pace, if we're going to beat Chelsea in the second leg, we need to try and get as much pace into our counter-attack as possible. And I was a little bit concerned with the forward line of Crooks and Josh Coburn, because as much as they're both good players and I like them both, I don't think that's the way to go against Chelsea. So to have Morgan Rogers back for the second leg is a big boost. And I don't know if Lat's going to be a bit fit for the second leg. Probably not. I think we need to try and get some pace.
I'm just going to jump in there quickly, though. Yeah. Someone's popped up on Facebook and said that he was training today. So I know he's come out and said it might be a bit of time at his house, but if he's training now, yeah, Millwall might be a bit too soon for him. But I was going to mention that a little bit later, but someone's popped up and kindly said that that could be something for a couple of weeks. Because it is a couple of weeks until the second leg, isn't it? So
that would be massive. That would be tremendous news if true. Because if you can get Elath and Morgan Rogers at the Chelsea back line, it's going to be a hell of a lot more successful, I would say, than Matt Crooks, Josh Coburn front line, just because of who we're playing against and what they struggle at.
Well, I think there's a bit of a difference, isn't there, in the second leg? Obviously, I know, I want to talk more about the first leg, obviously, but to touch on the second leg, it's going to be a bit of a different game because they really are going to be at us. And I do feel the only time we are going to get at them is on the counter-attack. I don't think we can be as confident as we were in the first leg on the ball and passing it around as freely and as confidently as we were. It's going to be a lot tougher, I think, in the second leg, and which is going to be a shame because we passed the ball so well. I know we only had 29% possession, but it's, Jason's just said there, Marcus Force is back now. Is he an option to go up top? We don't know. But speaking of Jason now, he stood next to me at the game on Tuesday, and we were getting to that point where the atmosphere was good all game. It was just starting to take not a dip, but it was just getting a bit quiet. And we both went, this could do with a goal. And then Barlas had flipped that ball over the top. And you were talking about the pace there, Dicko. And the pace of Jones against Colwell. And then the pace of Hackney to get himself in the box. I mean, talk me through that goal. Just talk me through that goal.
Well, you're spot on. And I think the dip in the atmosphere came. That was the only dip in the atmosphere all night was due to the two injuries. Because you're sitting in the stand after the great start and the atmosphere, and I think when you got the two injuries, it really knocked the stuffing out of the supporters for 10 minutes. And we're thinking how we're going to get in this game, how we're going to actually get anything from this game. Then, like you see out the blue, Barlasa on the knocks a tremendous ball down the right hand side, right in behind the Chelsea back defence, right onto the foot of Jones. And Jones, does what I wish he would do more often, which is drive at his man and not cut back inside. He'd done exactly what he's good at. He got his pace going against the Chelsea backline in Colwell. And he got a little bit of luck because the ball deflected back to him as he got into the box. But he composed, again, another thing I wish he would do more is compose himself. And he composed himself, had a look up, and he's seen Hackney running, and he plays a great pass. Again, a little bit of fortune, which you need. It goes to the Chelsea player's legs. Hayden Hackney. And that's why he's worth millions of pounds, and that's why he'll be in the Premier League next season, whether we are or not, is because he's like gold dust. He's a box-to-box midfield player that can do the hard yards, but what he can do, which not many players can do, is have that engine to get in the box like that, out the blue, and appear from nowhere and see the pass, and he was there on a flash. And what a great finish it was. Side foot in the corner, no panicking, blasting it or whatever. It just like a Bernie Slaven, like Bandy knows, a Bernie Slaven like finish, little side foot pass into the bottom corner, superb, and it was a magical moment, and the stands erupted around the stadium, and then you could just feel the belief. Think actually we're not out this game. Here we go, and from that moment on, the Middlesbrough fans were ignited again, and it was just superb, absolutely superb. Great goal. Great pass by Barlasa. Well done to Jones. And a superb finish by a classy player in Hayden Hackney.
Absolutely. Bandy, just talk to me about that. The stands were absolute. I've never known mayhem like it. There was just people absolutely everywhere. I think poor John went down about 6 flights of stairs. I ended up on the floor somewhere. People just on top of each other. It was just the pure elation and the noise. You watch it back and hear the noise was absolutely deafening.
It was relief as well, I think, that we'd actually gone ahead, because then you've got something to protect. And I think the way we set up, we were set up to protect, but also to deceive, because we set up beautifully to counter-attack. Before I forget, we were talking about Hackney's goal. It's probably fitting we're talking about that tonight on Brian Robson's birthday, because that is the sort of goal he used to score regularly
Yeah.
driving into the box. The amount of times he used to ghost in back post and tap a goal in. And that's if I was talking to Hackney now, I'd say that's the kind of player you can emulate and look up to and become, somebody like him of that caliber. Fantastic players is Hackney. Really, really is. And like Dicko said, I'd love him to stay another year, possibly, to give it another crack at promotion if it doesn't happen for us this season. He does have time on his side. There'll be a queue of clubs waiting for his signature. Of that, I have no doubt. So it would be nice if we could just keep him here for one more season. But if he did go, then I'd understand because he is capable of walking into any top 10 Premier League team and cementing a place every week. Yeah. Brilliant player. He'll have caught the eye against Aston Villa. His first game back after about 2 months. He's only meant to play a half, and he ended up playing an hour because he wanted to give it another 15, 20 minutes. And then the way he started the game on Tuesday night, it was frightening. And to get a goal as well, I mean, that is just, the epitome of a classy player.
You can see why the top teams are looking at him because his strengths are his composure on the ball, his passing range is excellent, his close passing range, his tic-tac football is so quick and clever. And like you've just said, Bandy, he's got that magical touch where he can appear in the box. He's got the knowledge of when to drive into the box and appear at the right time and put the ball in the back of the net. Now, you move that forward and progress his game into the Premier League with better players around him, with a say a Pep Guardiola or a Jurgen Klopp or, these type of managers. The sky's the limit for the lad if he keeps his head right. He's a really top player. And you watch these teams in the Premier League, Man City and Liverpool and Spurs, and you can imagine him playing in those sides straight away and think there's no reason why you couldn't fit into their side and their system. And not only that, he's flexible because he's left-footed. He can play on the left. He can play higher up the pitch. He can sit in. He can tackle. There's numerous positions he can play. So I'm like you. I'd love him to stay another season. I'd love to get to the Premier League ourselves and keep him for another season. But realistically, he's going to be in the Premier League. And as long as Middlesbrough get a fair price for a top player, good luck to the lad.
Yeah, I won't be angry or anything if he does go because he absolutely deserves it. The kid's going to be an absolute talent. He's shown it now. He's an absolute Rolls Royce in midfield. He's got everything. He's got pace. He's got power. He's got strength. He's got the pass in him as well. He can pick a pass. I thought he picked some real good passes on Tuesday night as well. I thought there was situations where he had a couple of players around him, but he picked the pass perfectly. Some were away and gone. And I thought that's the sign of a quality midfielder if he can do that. Johnny Howson does it all the time. It goes under the radar, and it's them sort of passes that get you up in the game. And yeah, I mean, he made a run. Was it 2 minutes before when he shot wide? And Crooks had just put him through, and he took a shot on goal. He maybe took it a bit too early, a bit too wide out. But I mean, obviously now you can say, well, he was sounding a bit of a sighter, wasn't he? You know what I mean? Just having a look, see what he could do, and then the finish was just superb. Opened his foot up, bottom corner, and I mean, Jason's just messaging me there. He said he's only had the riverside like that twice before, and that was when Nugent scored against Hull and when Josh scored against Spurs. The place went absolutely balmy. I've never heard it like that. Even when we scored winners against Bale and Stour, yes, there was some absolutely nutty scenes and there was people all over the shop, but that was different gravy on Tuesday. There was just people all over, and everybody was looking, saying, "What in good God's happening here? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?" You know what I mean? That was £1 billion team in front of us, and we just made them look stupid.
It was a classic "how dare they score against us" moment, wasn't it? Against in times of adversity, it was like the old David and Goliath tussle, and we edged it first. And obviously, it's only half time. I do think we will have to suffer some serious torture down there. There'll be an onslaught probably for most of the game, but I think we will set up very, very similar and look to get Engel pushed out as quick as we can, get Jones to get out as quick as he can, and get get support in a lone striker and possibly another deep line run from Hackney to support the striker. I think that's the only way really. You can't take them on like for like with a 4-2-3-1. We'll just get crucified. We need to overload in that midfield, which is where we had some joy against Villa, and that's why I think he went with the same team, the same system.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you for the second half, Graham. As I say, my thoughts for the first game was because we were at home, we need to try and get a lead and get at them, be progressive. It didn't turn out that way with the injuries, but for the second leg, 100% agree. We've got to set up carefully, cleverly, and I think that's what we will do. Get some more pace in the side, like you said. Get the fullbacks bombing on when they get an opportunity to break. Get Rodgers in the side, and you know, be clever and be careful. Newcastle done it when they went there because they were struggling with injuries at the time, and they sat in against Chelsea. And Chelsea struggled to break Newcastle down. They got a last-minute equaliser and won on penalties, but they struggled against Newcastle. They created very few chances. They had all the possession, but were just going sideways and backwards, pretty much like they were against Middlesbrough second half. So I do agree that's the way to go against them. Just on
I don't
Hackney,
think there's any other way to play. I really don't.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
We've just got to be prepared for what's coming. It might, in a perverse kind of way, suit us because the pressure's on them to really, really go at us, which it might we might just be able to catch them off guard and get a goal, which will completely, turn the tie in our favour. They'll have to score 3.
Their fans are ready to turn on. Their fans are ready to go. You've seen on Saturday on Tuesday night after the game, the players are going across apologising to the fans after the game. Thiago Silva apologising to them. The social media, the backlash from the Chelsea supporters was poor towards the side. They were furious with them. They were disappointed in them. Now, if Middlesbrough can go to Stamford Bridge, like Bandy says, and just sit in, and if they're having to go, the crowd's going to turn. If they don't score early, the crowd's going to get unsettled. It's going to turn, and if we can nick a goal, that place will go down like a lead balloon very, very quickly. And their 35,000 supporters will suddenly become a noose around that team's neck. So, Middlesbrough really have to play the long game and just be patient at Stamford Bridge because they're massive favourites. But because of everything that's involved in it, there's so many plot twists that could turn it in Middlesbrough's favour.
I mean,
we saw last night, didn't we? Fulham scoring first at Anfield. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on because when Liverpool are attacking wave after wave of attack, then it's hard to stay in a game. But enough about them. We will be under some serious pressure, but I think we're more than capable of frustrating the hell out of them, like we did on Tuesday. And it might work in our favour that they've got to throw absolutely everything at us. It's just whether or not we can withstand that pressure again. Not just physically, but mentally. We won't get it. We won't get a minute's peace at Stamford Bridge. It'll be the Alamo. It really will. But we're more than capable. We've proven that over 185, 190 minutes of football against two, quality teams. Really, Aston Villa and Chelsea, the top quality Premier League teams with fantastic players. And it's took an own goal over both games, for us to lose one of the games. So it's definitely stacked in our favour, really, to frustrate them.
It is. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the pressure we're going to go under in that second leg is going to be excruciating. Just not just for the players, the fans. Us fans have really got to stick with them for 90+ minutes. We can't have them little grumbles that we usually have. Like, oh, for God's sake, what we're doing there? We can't do that when we go down there. We've got to give it everything for them. And I mean, you mentioned there, if we can get a nick another goal down there. I mean, I just had a little thought about what that behind that goal is going to look like, and my God. I mean, I'm in the bottom tier. I know I saw your pick of your tickets, Bandy. You're upper, aren't you? For
yeah.
The second leg, I'm in the lower, and I can honestly see people like hanging off the edge of that stand just because it's just going to go that mental in that. I can't even imagine. I couldn't imagine scoring Tuesday, but I thought we'd win, weirdly enough. But what scoring at Stamford Bridge, Jesus Christ. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different gravy. But I mean, Well, I mean, we got a taste of what it was going to be like pressure-wise because, I mean, the chances they missed. I mean, Tom Glover's mistake, Cole Palmer's absolute howler, not just once, but twice. Shots over the bar. I think they had, it was 18 shots Chelsea had, and only 5 or 6 on target. I mean,
That's right, yeah.
If you're putting a squad together and you've got players like Raheem Sterling, Cole Palmer, you've brought on Armando Broja, they're all internationals, and you're not hitting the target frequently enough. I know they've got injury problems, but this is a £1 billion squad. And
that's frustration as well. That's frustration at not being able to break down that red wall. Obviously, we had out of possession, we had a back 5, and then we've got 3 sat in front. So we've got, in effect, a back 8.
Yeah.
And every little gap, which they like to try and play through, as did Villa, there was no way through. So, like I say, it's well stacked in our favour to do that again. I just hope that they've got the legs to do it again, because it'll be very, very tough. And there'll be a lot of players trying to make amends. Obviously, Chelsea ones, not ours.
We need to get Steve Baker out of retirement, don't we? Remember Steve Baker? We need to get him out of retirement, old Bostic.
Another man marking job.
Yeah, get him on.
You mentioned, Dicko, you mentioned Morgan Rogers. He'll be absolutely champing at the bit to get back into action. And he scored in every round, hasn't he? Barring, obviously, the Chelsea home leg. So he can now play. So he might be that gap between midfield and linking up with a lone striker. So he might find a moment. He might get a chance or two on that night, because he's fantastic at carrying the ball, particularly from the left side, bringing it in on his right foot. It's just that final pass he sometimes finds hard. But he could be a name on that night.
Well, that's what we missed it on Tuesday.
Match winner for us.
We missed that player to drive Middlesbrough up the pitch, get with 20 yards further forward. It wasn't happening with Matt Crooks on the night, and I can see, like you just said, Bandy, I can see Morgan Rogers getting on that ball and driving at the Chelsea back line, and that'll get Middlesbrough a little bit higher up the pitch, and we'll make it a bit more joy.
Exactly the point. Yeah, he'll just provide that link up. I don't think Hackney will have the same impact as he did in that home game, because obviously they'll have seen him now. They'll have know what to do to combat his runs. But that frees somebody else up, and they probably won't know too much about Rogers. So he could be the shining light on the night.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've got to keep everything close to our chest, haven't we, for the second leg? We can't give too much away in what we're going to do, I suppose, in our next 2 games, or what we've done previously, because we're going to stick with that midfield 3. Because I thought I didn't know how they were going to work together as a 3, but I thought the midfield 3 were absolutely fantastic. I say their midfield 3 were worth £250 million, and we made them look very ordinary, very poor and weak, because our boys were really strong. Howson ran through brick walls, as he usually does, our Benjamin Button. Hackney, say no more about him. And it was one of Barlas's best games in midfield. I thought he was absolutely fantastic on Tuesday night.
I thought he was excellent too. Yeah,
his passing was superb. He's another one. If you give him a second on the ball, he'll find a pass. He will find a pass, and that's what we needed. Just that a bit of outlet, just to go wherever it may be, and get us out wide. And another. One more player I'm going to mention before I ask you for your man. Well, before what it was like at full time, Lucas Engel. I thought Lucas Engel was absolutely unbelievable on Tuesday night. He defended incredible for someone. If you look how he started at Borough, getting hauled off at half time at Sheffield Wednesday for having an absolute stinker, and every one of us looked at him and went, "No, I'm not having him. I'm not having him one bit." Compare that to now. The way he played on Tuesday night, he had Madueke running at him, Cole Palmer running at him. He had Raheem Sterling running at him at some points. Broja ran at him at some points. I mean, I can't speak highly of how well he played. I thought he was absolutely superb. Him and Matt Clark, because I thought I was a bit when he came on for Bangura, because he didn't know I was going to work. But them two on that left-hand side, they were just as good as Van Dijk and Jones on the right. I thought both sides defended so well. to be able to leave Dale Fry in the middle to cover whatever was left, because they worked out wide more out than that and then put in. And Dale Fry dealt with that really well. I just thought our back five was absolutely superb on Tuesday night, but Lucas Engel deserves a massive shout.
He was brilliant. He was our outball most of that game, I thought. Particularly when Clark's got it off the keeper and he's looking, because he's got a beautiful pass on him as Matt Clark on his left foot. He finds Engel every single time.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the pass isn't on, he'll check back in, he'll give it back to Glover, he'll then get it back, he'll find the angle, he'll give it to Engel. Engel's off like a rocket. He was brilliant. And Jones was equally as good on the other side. So like I was saying before, they got so far up the pitch, they were able to support Coburn. Because at times, if they don't get up and you've just got Josh up there, then he's neither use nor ornament. So you've got to get players up to support him. And we did that tremendously well. And that gives opportunity for a midfielder or possibly another to push up and support from behind. But I thought, like, the simplicity of our midfield on Tuesday was impeccable. Hackney, House, and Barlaza, they were playing simple kids' football, triangle stuff, just playing around them at walking pace at times as well. Barlaza, he just likes to stroll, doesn't he? But I think he strolls for a purpose because he's just waiting for that little gap just to pop a little ball through. Might be a 3 or 4 yard pass. It could be a ping, 30, 40 yards, but his range of passing is brilliant.
Oh,
my only concern is he does get caught in possession at times in dangerous areas, and teams will seize up on that. But he was really, really good. He was brilliant.
I'll give him a bit of praise because I've been critical of him on this podcast, Dan Barlaza, and I don't make any apologies for that because I'll say what I see, and he's been average to poor most of his time at Middlesbrough. He's had countless opportunities and chances to stake his claim, but he's never been, for me, shown anything good enough to replace a Hayden Hackney or a Johnny Howson. But I thought against Chelsea he was very, very good. And although part of the reason for that was, I think Dan Barlaza would probably find it easier in the Premier League than he does in the Championship because you get more time on the you get more time on the ball. It's a fact, and he has got an extremely good passing range. And I thought he looked really classy on Tuesday night with his passes. He got a bit more time, a bit more space to pick his pass like he did for the goal. And I thought he shone, and I hope that gives him a bit more confidence to start producing for Middlesbrough, because there is a player in there. His stats at Rotherham are very, very good for assists and goals, and he hasn't showed any of that in the Middlesbrough shirt. But he was outstanding, against Chelsea, and was possibly our best midfielder on the night. So let's see a bit more from that. Let's go and do it at Millwall. Let's go and do it against Rotherham, and then you'll have another fan in me coming on the podcast, seeing how good you are, because that's what he needs. That's what he needs to do. As simple as that. That's what he needs to do more regularly.
The concern is when he's in a 2, not a 3. That's when his form dips, because teams can bypass him quite quickly. Yeah. If he's in a 3, he can be that luxury man. There's always the kid at school who always wants the ball and doesn't really want to run. He just wants to stroll around with it and ping passes. He is that type of player. I don't think you'll see him bombing up and down. He just hasn't got the legs or the pace to do that. But in a 3, he is tremendous.
See, in the two, as you said, Graham, he drops off deep, and sometimes he under pressure in the Championship, he gets caught and he gives the ball away in dangerous areas, and he's costing him time and time again. But like you say, in a 3, and against better sides like Sevilla and like Chelsea, he gets that little bit more time on the ball, and he can pick his passes better. So let's hope it's a big confidence boost for him, and he goes on now and has a great end of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to allude to that straight away there, what you just said there, Bandy. I thought he suits a 3 better than a 2. I thought he definitely suits being the spare man, where the 2 can match you up, and you can be the spare one that's going to work around the space, work with the space that's left because of the 2 being matched up by the other 2, and you work that really well on Tuesday night. And you say you're not going to get that in the Championship because they're just going to match us up man for man, and all of a sudden he's having to work a little bit harder, he's having to work a little bit more, and he hasn't got the time and space to do what he wants to do with the ball, and unfortunately you just get caught out with it, and that's the way he plays. But I thought in a 3, the 3 of them worked absolutely superb. There was no cross wires. There was no problems. There was no, well, you were supposed to do that. Well, you were supposed to do that. They all knew the jobs and they did not absolutely perfectly. It was just a well ran operation between the lot of them, and got to full time. You could feel the relief. It was over. The torture was done for now. And then all the emotion just flew out the riverside. Like, no one left the seat for a good 20 minutes. Like, people were still in there just jumping about. And it was, I mean, I don't know how you lads felt. I mean, obviously, Bandy, I saw you straight after. And it was just amazing. What a night at the riverside. It was one of them. I said on Monday, I love it under the lights. I love a midweek game, but that was special.
It was one. It was on another level. We've had some terrific nights at the Riverside. The Stoya game, obviously, the comeback against Bale, the two-legged game against Liverpool, the Brighton game, obviously. Even Brentford when we beat them in the playoffs, that was good. That was a taster for what the Riverside can become in the modern era. But that game the other night it's on par for me with the Stoya game. For different reasons. Obviously, the Stoya was fantastic. We got to a major European final, but I like the David and Goliath element to that game on Tuesday night. We were the underdogs. Everybody was looking at that thinking the superstars from Kings Road would just rock up, win 2 or 3-0. I'm sure that's what the national media were hoping for, to be honest. We're reading some of the stories. It's all about how bad Chelsea played on the night, but we made them look bad because of the way we set up and the way we harried and hassled them and played through them and counter-attacked them. So we should be given a lot of credit for that, and that's why that game for me is high up in probably my top 3 comfortably.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, what were your feelings like at full time, Dick? I imagine you obviously you were obviously with the family as well, and I say your legend of an old man. It's it must have been absolutely amazing at full time.
It was just relief. Well, both relief. My dad was crying. He gets emotional in these situations. He gets emotional. He was crying. I was hugging him, jumping around. There was a lady sitting next to us who I'd never seen in my life. I was grabbing her, swinging her around. And my daughter, my wife was sitting further down from her in the stand, and they were watching me swinging my scarf around and leaping around, and it was just magical. And I was so proud to have my daughter there, seeing nights that I've spoke to her about when she was a little girl, saying, "Don't worry, you'll have nights what I've seen. Don't worry," because she's grew up through a pretty poor time supporting Middlesbrough growing up. And I said, "Don't worry, you'll see these nights. They'll come. Middlesbrough are a sleeping giant. They're a big club. We'll always come back. And we've been asleep for too long. But nights like Spurs and nights like on Tuesday night, they reignite you as a supporter, and they give you lots of belief and lots of faith. And it was just a wonderful experience to be there with my wife, my daughter, and my dad, who's nearly 80 years of age, and say we're all there together for one of the like Graham says, one of the greatest nights in Riverside history. One of the greatest nights. It'll be talked about for years. What a giant killing! Yeah. Look at the difference in money, in class on the pitch. Middlesbrough at the minute are a mid-table championship side, and we've went toe to toe with one of the most expensive, clubs in Europe, and deservedly so. Battled and outfought them and beat them, and that'll go down in the ages. It'll be talked about long after we're gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a night for the ages. I say I was there with my partner. She's turned out to be my little lucky charm for football now, and as a full time when she was as delighted as I was. I just let it down in my seat, said, "This is not happening. This is not real. This." Cried my little heart out. So I was like, "This is not real. No way is this real." And amazing. It was just an amazing feeling just to just look around the riverside and see the elation and the happiness. And we've gone through some horrible times, horrible defeats. I look back to last May. Coventry at home was absolutely horrific. It was one of the most painful things I've ever been part of as a football fan. You know, it was up there with relegations for me. It was horrible. But that, you give us all the cold Tuesday nights in Cardiff and Stoke and Barnsley, all the horrible games you go to, and you get that. That's your reward. And just absolutely amazing. It was just, yeah, one of them nights I'll never ever forget. And if it's the second leg doesn't go our way, I don't care. Don't care. I've had my moments. We've had our moments. I'm not bothered. It was unbelievable. But yeah, bring on the second leg. I can't wait to get down to Stamford Bridge and give them absolutely everything. Give them hell. Give them absolute hell. And hopefully come back with something I won't be able to even talk about. But before I move on to transfers and injuries, I'll ask you both your man of the match because this could be a bit different for all three of us. So I'll start with you, Bandy. Who's your man of the match for Tuesday night?
You know, Jones got it on Sky, didn't he? But I'm going to go for Engel just because he rose to the occasion, and for him, I don't think the occasion is going to get any better. And he stood up tall. He's not the tallest of players, to be honest. He's quite slight. He looked quite frail at times when he's in possession and players are trying to close him down. But I thought he was brilliant. As I mentioned before, he was the outball. His touch, receiving on the back foot before he's even thought about his pass. He's halfway down the line. I thought he was brilliant, really, really good. And defensively, it's the best I've ever seen him. He was determined for every single ball. He was the first to every single ball as well, and he was going in with a bit of needle as well. So maybe that's his new phase. You know, maybe he's developing under Carrick because if we go back to that Chef Wed game where he was left back, the right winger absolutely had him on toast all game. You know, it was horrendous to watch. I felt sorry for him, but it's hard to compare that Engel to the Engel the other night. It's like two different players. So I think that's probably testament to the manager. I said in the last podcast we've had 6, 7 signings, and at the start of the season you're looking at most of them thinking, what have we got here? But now we're looking at him now going, well, he's settled in, he's playing well, he's playing class, he's improving. So it's all positive for the new players. Even Glover coming in, you know, we're not so worried now about Dieng being away for that length of time or getting injured or whatever. We've now got cover in the goalkeeping department, and he looks superb. So back to the question, Engel.
Yeah, and I'll say to people that are watching now or watching on YouTube, if you get a chance to watch it back, just look at the celebrations for the goal and look at Engel's face. His face is a picture. It's like he realised how big it was for all of us, and he just screamed in Hackney's face. A bit like imagine how 20,000, 25,000 of us, of the 30,000 Borough fans were doing to each other, just screaming at each other with pure elation. And it just, for me, that I looked at him and I thought, he gets it. He absolutely gets it. You know, players
that's a man content in his job as well. You could see it in his face. He knows he's playing well now.
Yeah.
You know, the start of the season, Coulson got a run. It's not worked out for him. He's been moved on. Engel was given a chance. Didn't work out for him to start. Now he's come back a lot stronger. He looks a very, very happy man. So he could be a pivotal player for us in the coming months.
Oh, massively, massively. Dicko, who's your man of the match?
Well, I agree with everything Graham said there regarding Engel. And the man of the match has to come from somebody who was playing at the back, because I thought Vandenberg, Clark, Fry and Engel were all superb on the night. But I'm going to go with Dale Fry because he's a man that's had a lot of stick on this podcast and I've defended him quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think he's got a lot of class about him, and I understand why people get frustrated at him because he just can't seem to have a run of form. He's fantastic for 2 or 3 games, then he dips and has a couple of poor games. And if he could play like he did against Chelsea every week, you'd be in the Premier League. You'd be the same as what Hayden Hackney is. But I just thought he stood up tall against Chelsea when we're under pressure, especially in the second half. Every ball that come in the box just seemed to hit Dale Fry in the head, and he cleared everything. He was just like the big lighthouse that he is. I thought he had a superb game, along with the rest of the defence. but I'm going to give it to Dale Fry, a Borough lad who stood up tall and got with through to the, hasn't got with through, but got with a clean sheet. So yeah, Dale Fry, well played.
Yeah,
good decision.
I mean, I could pick out of the ones you picked. You both have picked because the whole back line was absolutely superb. I mean, I'm going to stick with the theme and give it to a defender. I'm going to give it to Matt Clark. I thought Matt Clark was absolutely unbelievable. He didn't miss a header. He didn't miss a tackle. His passing was absolutely on point. He came. I remember one moment. I remember he came on, and within 2 minutes, he managed to turn Madueke inside out and put the ball out to Engel. And I thought, how have you done that? That you've just come in, slotted in nicely and easy, and you've just absolutely ripped apart a young kid that's supposed to be a superstar. And for all the trouble he's gone through, his year out with his back injury and things like that, and he's just come back and he's been absolutely brilliant. I've not been able to complain about him. Obviously, I know he gave away the penalty at Leeds, but that was just like, that was literally shot in the fire, wasn't it? That kind of thing. And after that, he's been superb, and it just culminated into an unbelievable performance on Tuesday night. I thought it was superb, but I could give it to anybody on that pitch. I could give it to anybody in the stands. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable.
His Rai called him the other week on the podcast the beautiful big bald eagle.
Yeah, big bald eagle. Yeah, that's exactly how he was on Tuesday night. Unbelievable player, and he's proven his worth now. He really is. We can see why Middlesbrough wanted him, and he's value for money. As I say, it didn't cost much either, so another bargain buy from Kieran Scott. Fair play to the man. Before I move on, I mean, Jason just messaged me and said we are 180 minutes away from European football.
Ooh,
this is true. We'd have to win it, mind, but it's true.
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hadn't thought about that. I'm only thinking about that first 10 minutes at Stamford Bridge.
I am. I'm exactly the same as you, Bandy. Just get me through the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I can settle
It's
down.
a boring cliche, but each game as it comes, or in our case, each half as it comes.
Each quarter. You know what I mean? Keep us just get us through it. But this is literally before I move on to transfers and injuries. I just want to say a massive well done to all the fans on Tuesday night. The 12-man boys, which obviously we're included in, that got the scarf message out. Looking at the scarves around the stadium was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was really enamoured by that. I think scarves are traditional. I think it's part of football. I've grown up with scarves. My granddad used to take a scarf. My dad used to take a scarf.
Yeah.
I take my scarf, and it looks fantastic. It really does. And I put a tweet out the next day saying, "A scarf is for life, not just for Chelsea." And it'd be nice if every Borough supporter, every season ticket holder bought a scarf. I know the club shop's sold out, but you can get a Borough scarf, a red and white scarf anywhere. Buy one, take it to the Riverside every single match, hold it up. Just have a presence. When the players are on the pitch, they want to look around, think, wow, these fans are bang up for this. We don't necessarily have to make as much noise as we did on Tuesday, because that was an absolute one-off. But it would be nice when we play Rotherham at home, or certainly Sunderland, to scare the life out of them,
Yeah.
And you're halfway there to getting the points. Because I think that's one of the reasons why Chelsea probably couldn't get their rhythm going, because we were just so vocal and off-putting. Their fans never got a word. We couldn't even hear them. They travelled in numbers, to be fair, but we never heard a peep out of them. And I think that was down to being in an intimidating cauldron of noise. And that filtered through to their players, because they couldn't pass water at times. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
It was.
Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a Middlesbrough thing. The Red Faction, for example, started from somewhere. The 12th Man started from somewhere, and they've grown and become real, brilliant parts of the Riverside atmosphere for different reasons behind both goals, and getting people involved with different ideas. Let's make the scarves in Middlesbrough. I remember going back in the 90s when we used to have the flag nights at the Riverside, and everybody bring a flag, and the atmosphere was bouncing. A lot of people haven't seen that type of atmosphere at the Riverside for a long time until Tuesday night with a flag, with the scarves. And it's such an easy thing to do. Buy a scarf, bring your scarf, wave it, sing your songs. And what a visual it is around the stadium. It's a great visual for everybody to see. let's make it a Middlesbrough thing. Let's start it off. Let's keep it going. Let's push to get it, like Bandy says, not just for the Sunderland game. Let's get it for the Rotherham game and become a tradition that at Middlesbrough, you take your scarf and you wave your scarf when the teams come out, and let's get the Riverside rocking every week.
We've got to make it a place where the opposition think, oh, we're not going to get much there. You know, we've got to make it a hard place. It's been too easy the last. Well, it seems to have lasted forever now. We've rolled over too many times for too many crap teams which we should be beaten. Particularly the start of this season when we're trying to find our feet, and maybe Carrick did make the mistake of blooding too many new signings at once because we were all over the shop. But thankfully we've recovered, and he's really showing his mettle as a manager. I just hope we can keep him for as long as we can as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I was going to say, I'd say as well, second leg of Chelsea, bring your scarf with you, bring it with you. They say, looking behind that goal, and for them players to see a bit of red amongst all the blue, it'll be something for them to think, right, they're up for it. They've travelled, 6.5 hours, whatever it is, to get down here. Yeah, we can do it. We can do this. And yeah, massive well done to the Red Faction as well, because I thought that display was unbelievable. The whole South Stand coverage, it looked absolutely incredible. So I say I know a few of the lads in the Red Faction. They say they put some hard work into that. So fair play and well done to you. And hopefully see you down at in Stamford Bridge, and we can create something absolutely amazing and create a memory that will live absolutely forever. And we can do what the Geordies couldn't do and bring it back with us. So yeah,
nice,
amazing night. Right. Quickly go through transfers and injury news. I'll start with the injury news. But Dicko, you can help me with the injury news. Obviously, Lassila and Bandy are off. They're not going to make it for Saturday. But looks like Marcus Forss could be back for the weekend, and Dijksteel's looking like he's back for Chelsea as well. So we're slowly but surely getting a few players back.
It is. It's encouraging. I mean, a lot of talk was about the Millwall game. Are Middlesbrough going to be knackered and tired and jaded, and Millwall are going to take advantage of that? Well, I'll be really disappointed if that's the case, because if you look at it properly, Middlesbrough should be on a massive high if they're getting such a great result against Chelsea, that the players shouldn't, they'll only have rested since the game on Tuesday night for the game on Saturday, apart from a little bit of tactical work. They'll be resting. But then you look at it properly and you think, well, Greenwood's back. He didn't play Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers is back. He didn't play Tuesday night. Yeah. We've got Azaz to make his debut, quality player. He didn't play Tuesday night. You've got Luke Ayling available after signing. He didn't play Tuesday night. You've got O'Brien, who will be available on the bench. So straight away, you've got half a team there that didn't even take any part on Tuesday night. So I don't see why that should be a thing. So I think Middlesbrough should be encouraged to go into the Millwall game full of confidence, with a few tweaks to attacking options, get a bit more pace in the side, and go there. And though it's a tough place to go, we're going to be backed by, I think it's 3,000 Middlesbrough fans down there. And Millwall are below in the table, so they're not pulling up any trees. Yeah, it's a difficult place to go, but it's a place that if we want to be pushing into that top six mix, that we need to be going there and getting something. Now, ideally, it would be 3 points, but I don't think going there and getting a point would be a bad result. But let's push on and let's go for the 3 points. It's there for us.
Absolutely, exactly. And Bandy, he's just mentioned it there. I was going to come to you about the signing, because obviously you're part of the Woods. Luke Ayling's made his way up to Teesside. Obviously, you speak to a lot of Leeds fans. They obviously try and give it to you as much as they can. What are they saying about Luke Ayling? How happy are you about it? I mean, we put a question out saying, "Are you happy with it?" And majority of fans have said, "Yeah, bit of experience. He'll be all right within our squad." What's your take on it?
I've made my happiness quite public on my Twitter feed about Luke Ayling. I think he's a fantastic player. I always used to cast an envious glance over at Leeds, and when Ayling was playing, thinking he'll be perfect for us, particularly when he was a lot fitter and a bit younger. During the Bielsa days, he was a phenomenal talent.
Yeah,
great player down that right hand side. He can slot in at centre back. Obviously, he'll play right back predominantly for us, I would have thought. But when Bielsa used to play that murder ball, he would just charge around, man marking everybody. His fitness levels were off the scale. He's a fantastic character to have around the dressing room. I've met him a couple of times in Harrogate in the coffee shops, and he's a really nice guy to talk to. So I was pushing his little pushchair around with his baby and that, and just a very, very nice family man, And his passion is playing football and making friends. And obviously, there's been a lot of heartfelt responses to his departure on Twitter from Leeds fans. They probably knew he wasn't going to play so much this season because of his age, but I think sometimes players they get an extra bit of energy just from a change of scenery. And I think he doesn't have to move house. I believe he lives in Knaresborough, so it's not too far. So the commute will be relatively easy for him. He's on hand. He's still got his family here. He's still got his friends here. So I think it's a perfect move for everybody, really. Because his position's been taken this season, so he's fallen out of favour, and I don't think age is on his side. So he'll be perfect for us, and I'd love to see him start on Saturday at right back. And if we do have injuries to centre backs, he'll comfortably slot across. So brilliant signing, really, really good. And I think fans will quickly warm to him because he is quite an infectious character.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I always noticed about him, sorry, mate, he's a right shit house. He really is. He's a right ugly player when he wants to be. But I love that kind of player. As much as I hate, when he was at Leeds, I did look at him and think, I hate you. I absolutely hate you. But what a player he is. What a player. I thought we could do with someone like him. And this gives a bit of needle, a bit of metal. And I think, you know what? He's not going to be the worst signing in the world, this lad. He really won't
It's
be.
a good signing, it really is.
Yeah, it's a good bit of experience as well. He knows the lads that we've got. I think he gets on really well with Johnny Howson as well. So, he'll fit in straight away. And I think he'd be all right. I think he'd be good.
We've got to look out for the Ayling flop, which is not testament to his ability. What he does, he gets in front of his man. It's a bit like what Paddy McNair does. Gets in front of his man and he'll... Does he dive? I don't know, but he flops. He falls down. And that, like you say, talking about shithousing, if you need someone to do that 5 minutes to go and we're clinging on to it for a 1-0 win, then you watch how many times Ayling does his flop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, we'll quickly finish on Millwall. You quickly you lose to it a bit there, Dicko. You take a point. I think we need something, don't we? We can't go there and get beat. We need to forget about what's happened Tuesday. As much as Tuesday was absolutely incredible, and we've got something to look forward to in a couple of weeks. We've now got 2 league games we need to put our heads back into, and we need a minimum of a point from here. I mean, it's not the greatest ground for us. It's not the luckiest one. I can only count on a few fingers how many times we've won there. It's a difficult place to go, but they're not in the greatest bit of form. I know they started to creep up the table a little bit, but I'd say they're on par with ourselves, and I think we just got to go there and show our quality, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think we've got to go back to type. We're not playing Aston Villa. We're not playing Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to a 4-2-3-1. Let's have a go at them. Let's get the players that are sharp, haven't been playing lately, back in the side. Get some fresh legs in the side. And go into the game with the attitude that we're going to go there and win. I mean, my team. Sorry, I was just going to say on Luke Ayling, by the way.
Yeah.
I was horrified when I seen the link with him because I couldn't stand him for a few reasons. One, the Leeds connection. B, he's a shithouse. C, he's got a man bun. And I just thought, oh my God, he's 32. What I was saying in this bloke for that I've hated watching against Middlesbrough all the time. And to be honest with you, after calming myself down and stop shouting at myself in the mirror, I thought about it and I thought, well, he's our shithouse now, isn't he? He's playing for us, and he's going to be diving for us. He's going to be cheating for us and kicking for us and tackling for us and doing all the stuff for us now. And when I think about it logically, he's a great replacement for Tommy Smith. He's going to be a leader. He's going to be a leader in the dressing room. He's going to have so much experience in and around the squad. that I've actually went full circle on this, and now I've convinced myself it's a great signing. So for that reason, he's in my starting 11 against Millwall. So my team,
100%. Yeah, he starts Saturday without a doubt.
yeah. So my team at Millwall, I'd go in with obviously Glover in goal. I'd go with the back four. I'd have Aylan, Dale Fry, and Vandenberg in Engel, and I'd give Clark a rest. I would have Barlasser and Hackney holding. I'd give Howson a rest, and I would go with the three of Azaz, Rogers, and Jones. Give Crooks a rest, and start with Josh Coburn up front. And if it's not working, you could always put Greenwood up front for Coburn as the game progresses. But that's how I would set up against Millwall.
Yeah,
got to be positive.
Yeah, I'm not too far away from where you are on that one. Yeah, we just got to go. We've really got to go and get a result for me. That's it. Just get a result. Keep us ticking. Just keep us ticking over. Get us back to the riverside next Saturday against Rotherham. Push for another 3 points there. If we can get 4 points out the next 2 games, I'll be very happy. I'll be very, very happy.
Yeah, we can't take our eye off the ball.
Exactly.
Because we've got the Chelsea game. We'll still need to be pushing up that table because 5th and 6th place is still there for Middlesbrough this season. And it will be massive out to get into them playoffs. I'm sick of this attitude of, but next season will be stronger because the players will be better and buy this player and buy that player. Football doesn't work like that. If the opportunity's there, you take it. And that opportunity for me at the moment is still there for Middlesbrough to make the playoffs. You've got a 1 in 4 chance of making the Premier League. You get yourself in the playoffs and give yourself that opportunity. We are more than good enough to make those playoffs with our squad once we get the bulk of the missing players back. More than good enough.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
I think, Dicko, you're spot on there, mate. Your team's spot on as well. I would absolutely revert to type. Don't give too much away now. Just keep that system, for when we do need it in them huge games. But Millwall away, time to lay the foundations again and just ensure that we've got points on the board just in case we do fall out of the cup. And then we've got that fallback option of being right in the mix for a playoff spot. It's not just us, there's about another 6-7 teams in the same position. So we've got to be on our guard and be prepared. But yeah, I'd go 4-2-3-1. That front three just behind us, the main striker, is quite mouthwatering, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that is exciting.
Azaz to come in. I mean, he looks fantastic. We covered him the other night in the other podcast, and he is a fantastic player. Obviously, Rogers is banging form. Jones is fresh off the back of a fantastic game against a top team. So it does bode well for Saturday, and it's nice that players are back. So it doesn't look as depleted as it possibly could be.
Exactly. It's and it shows that we've got a plan B as well. If we can now play, we've now got a different formation in our books. You know what I mean? We're not just a back four now. We can go to a back three and maybe push a few people on and change that 5-2 to maybe a 4-3. And we've got the capabilities to do that. But if you want motivation, to tell the players now, you tell the players, that's the caliber of player you play on Tuesday. You want to play every week. You can play like that for the next 6 months. You can play them teams every week. So that's your motivation. That's the quality you want to play against every week. So we can push on and do that every week. If you put the miles in now, between now and May, we can get to that point. Of course we can. So, there's your motivation. There's your starter. So hopefully, Carrick's telling the players that, look at them. That's where you want to be. So, give it. So, with that being said, I'll start with Mystic Meg. Score prediction, Bandy.
Right. I'll go for something similar to how the Swansea away game panned out, where we didn't play particularly well, but somehow scruffed out a win. I think that three that Dick or myself mentioned across, if we do go as Rogers, who I'm sure will come back in, and Jones, we'll probably have a little bit too much for Millwall on the counter attack.
Yeah.
I think Millwall will score because we're not particularly great at holding out away from home. But I think we've got enough just to edge it. So I'm going to go 2-1. And if you want a first scorer, I'm going Rogers. 2-1 Borough, Rogers.
What, to score first or anytime?
Anytime.
Go first, yeah. He'll have a point to prove because he'd be pissed off that he's missed that Chelsea game with a booking. So he'll want to really, really get stuck in
No
straight
problem.
away.
John's going exactly the same as you, by the way. So there you go. There's some company for you. Jason's gone 2-1 Borough Azaz. I've gone 3-1 Borough Azaz. I think he'll score on Saturday. I think he'll make a blinding debut. I think it'll be a hell of a signing. Dicko, what are you going for?
I'm thinking exactly the same as you guys, and I was going to say 2-1 Azaz. But since it's already been taken,
You can take it.
and 3-1's been taken, I tell you what, I'll go 2-1 Zaya Jones.
Right, okay, that's absolutely fine. There you go. We'll bang them on, try and win some more money for charity. Yeah, see what happens. But right, there we go. Job done. Finished. I love talking about Chelsea. That was amazing. Guys, thank you so much for popping on. Bandy, absolute legend. You are absolute legend. We'll get you on again very soon. I say we love having you on. We really do. Yeah, and your calendar, by the way, is pride and place on my wall. Absolutely love it.
That's good to hear.
Oh, mate, absolutely unbelievable.
Brilliant,
calendar.
mate, brilliant.
Yeah, I love it, mate. So thank you so much for popping on. Dicko, pleasure as always.
No bother. And look, I'm going to show you this. The shirt of choice tonight was Vossen. Hat-trick away at Millwall. First half hat-trick. The lucky shirt of tonight.
Nice. That was our last win there, wasn't it?
It was
5-1.
It was. Yeah, I was there.
I was there when Leroy Leiter got a winner. I was there that time. I think we won 3-2.
Yeah, I think
crazy
we did,
day. Yeah.
The 2-2 as well when we scored twice in stoppage time. Oh god, that was unbelievable. That felt like a win. But hopefully we'll bring some points back on Saturday, and we'll chat again on Monday, and hopefully have something to talk about. So yeah, thank you very much. See you on Monday. Up the Borough.
Nice one. Pleasure. See you later.
Up the Borough, boys.